Kravitz. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to episode 427 of Picks and Ponies right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. Thank you very much for joining us tonight as we are going to talk about a very, very big day at Woodbine. You can make the argument it is their biggest day of the year, although some might argue the King's Plate, you can see on my screen there, or my shirt, the King's Plate day is a bigger day. I don't know. 5 grade stakes on Saturday, 3 grade 1s, 2 grade 3s, all 3 grade 1s win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup. It is going to be an unbelievable day of racing at Woodbine this Saturday, and we are here to cover it for you. And shout out to good friend Sylvain for sending me this King's Plate hat and King's Plate shirt. It's the only Woodbine merch I've got. Thank you, Sylvain. It fits great. I'm very proud to wear it. Please make sure you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. You can follow us on X at HHH Racing Pod. Please subscribe to our Power Pick tip sheet. It's been on a roll. Congratulations to Noah Maher and Jackson Muniz. Also had I believe a $2.16 ROI during their Del Mar Power Pick tip sheet run. Our standard Power Pick tip sheet is pretty close to that, and that's over a 4.5 year plus span. Look below the video player if you're interested in our Power Pick tip sheets, which come out on Saturdays. I don't know why you wouldn't, because this is a huge time of year with Breeders' Cup implications, major preps, a lot of horses making their last runs before the Breeders' Cup to see who gets in San Diego. Please look below the video player and check us out on Patreon. Excuse me, patreon.com/HHH Racing Podcast. You can find out a lot more information on our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. We've got so much going on and so much to tell you about. I don't want to talk anymore. Let me go and bring on my wonderful co-hosts who are going to help me through this days. We got all three, the three Musketeers are back once again. First, from the Saratoga Special and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Mr. Paul Halloran, and back with us again after a short 1-week hiatus from the East Coast of Maryland, where I may have a horse running this Saturday for Adelphi named Twirling Beauty, who is the first AE. We'll see what happens with my gal, who might be running at Laurel Park this weekend, Mr. Pete Visco. Gentlemen, I got a lot of mixed emotions I got to tell you about today. It is September 11th. We remember everyone who lost their lives on September 11th, and our country right now is on fire. And I will say this right off the start. I know we're a horse racing podcast, but at the end of this show, I will have a rant. I don't rant very often, and it is not going to be about horse racing. So if people don't want to hear it, that's fine. I'm the owner of this podcast. I'm the host of the podcast and the founder. And sometimes you just got to say some stuff, guys. And as an educator as well, there's things I need to say. So I will say that for the end of the show. But back to horse racing. Pete and Paul, how you doing tonight?
What's up, gents? Long time no see.
Hey, Pete.
Hello, Paul. I have a little thing for you, Paul. My shirt today. A little Suffolk
Nice.
Downs, old school.
I like it.
I love our viewers, guys. Like Sylvain took care of me with the King's Plate shirt and hat. It's so hard to see the hat, but just ship to me for free.
A King's Plate card, as we say in baseball, can't take infield with this card on Saturday. This card this Saturday is far superior.
Yeah, I have. Pete, you agree with that over the King's Plate card? You prefer this one?
I think so. Yeah, I think this is a better card.
Too.
I always like the mile. I'm a mile sucker, so I like the mile races.
Well, London Talma has been a good prep for the Breeders' Cup historically.
Yes. Well, there's some changes this year that we have to talk about at Woodbine, which you will. But Sylvain, yes, Canada, Paul. What's up, Sylvain? Again, thanks very much. Appreciate that. Let's see who else is here. We got Tom Espinoza from the West Coast is here. We got James. What's up, James? Dr. K from Florida is here. John Kadzierski. Chris Walsh will be here. We'll talk about, let's talk about that. Actually, I'll talk about Weekend Warriors a little bit later on the show when we have some more people watching, as we're just starting the show here. And Of course, we are starting earlier now on Thursday nights, 7:30 Eastern, so we don't bump into the NFL. One hell of a game, by the way, tonight. I might have to check some of that out. And Sylvain hit it right on the head. No EP Taylor turf. We're going to talk about that. That's a major, major change. So we're going to go through the 5 stake races. There's some big bets going on, guys, that I know we're probably excited about that we have to mention. So I think it's time just to go ahead and jump right in, gentlemen. We also have Churchill starting this weekend as well. So a lot going on for their fall meet. We've got an announcement that I want to make about the podcast. I think you guys might know what that's about. So let's go ahead and jump right in right now. Here we go, guys. First leg of the actually, they don't have a pick 5 here, so we have to explain. Let me put you guys on screen. We'll do both here. So they have a $5. You can see in the top of the screen a $5 what they're calling Turf Champions Pick 3. This is the grade 1s, guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is races 6, 8, and 9. Saturday Woodbine races 6, 8, and 9, all grade 1s. A $5 Turf Pick 3 in those 3 races. They also have pick 5s and pick 6s, etc., but they don't correspond with all these stake races.
No, this is a pick 5, right?
This is a pick 5 race right here.
I mean, I know you're not good at reading. You're a math guy, but it says $250,000 guaranteed pick 5. I mean, I'm no math major, but that seems like 5 races in a row, I think. Right, Paul?
Yes.
Mr. Kravitz has to wear the dunce cap. Oh, sorry.
Sorry about that. Okay, I'm so excited about the $5 turf.
The $5 pick 3.
I like that.
Pretty cool.
I like that.
It is a 20-cent pick 5 as usual at Woodbine. Okay, so they're starting at pick 5 here and the $5 turf pick 3. Only grade 1s, 6, 8, and 9. Also, if you're an international player, there in the World Pool, there's a pick 5 involving 2 of the big races overseas. I can't remember the names of them off the top of my head. Sorry to Davey Lane and Emmett Kennedy and all our wonderful
Irish champions is one of them, right?
There you go. Yes. So anyway, big racing, guys. Here we go. I thought this first leg is just impossible. I thought this race is really
This
tough.
is by far the toughest leg, I thought.
I agree. The Bet 365 Summer, grade 1. This is for the 2-year-old boys. Now, again, they are not on the EP Taylor turf course on Saturday. To me, this is a huge, huge thing, guys. The EP Taylor's their outer turf course. These 1-mile races have in the past have been one turn. They're running these on the inner turf. The inner turf is pretty tight turns. I wouldn't say it's somewhat similar to the inner turf at Aqueduct or the pretty tight. Not a huge run into that first turn. I would say it definitely helps speed, I think, a little more than the outer for sure. And you can't wait nearly as long. You have to make a move on the turn. You can't just wait until the stretch and then make a move. So how that might affect the Euros coming in and other horses, I don't know. We're going to see. But please keep that in mind. I'm assuming the rails are going to be down, guys. So it's going to be that's a pretty tight, sharp turn into the first turn and coming in to the stretch. But here we go. 2-year-old boys, field of 12. Moneyline favorite, Appleby is going to be a major player. He's bringing in a whole bunch of horses here from Godolphin on this day. And he's got the favorite here in the number 10, Wild Desert. Again, Appleby and Buick. There are, 5 Cassies in this race. There are 3 Kevin Attards in this race as of now. Let's see where we're going to go. Let me take the banners off the screen and bring up the other banners. Here we go. I am going 12, 8, 6. Pete's going 4, 6, 10. And Paul's going 10, 1, 5. Wow, this is just completely wide open. Pete, I'm going to start with you. You got the number 4, and I want to make sure I say it right because I watched some replays and etc. Oh boy, I just screwed up. It is the Secret Adversary. The Secret Adversary.
Cool name. I like the name.
Pretty cool name. For Stack and Tori, 6-1 morning line. This is one of 2 Euros, I believe, in this race. Yeah, one of 2 Euros.
Yeah.
What do you like about the 4, Pete?
Well, a couple things. This horse. So you talked about it, where you said sometimes the Euros. This one, and again, we don't know how it'll translate, but this horse is generally a little closer. So I'm hoping from a trip standpoint that this horse actually can can basically sit sort of, I'm not going to be on the lead or anything, but can sit in sort of a stalking trip. And what I like too is, I mean, a lot of these horses, and we'll get to it, a lot of them are going sprint, and now we're going 2 turns. And some of them look like they're maybe more equipped than others. From a breeding standpoint, this horse looks to be equipped to run for a while. So to me, going the 2 turns, stretching out shouldn't be any problem for this horse. I love St. Mark's Basilica, by the way, just as a horse. So I'm a little sucker for that one when he has some horses. But I just think this one's going to be, the 2 turns isn't going to be an issue for this one. I think should be close enough to where, like you talked about, the tight turns maybe won't have as much of a negative effect because it could be in a good stalking position.
Have you watched any replays on this horse, Pete?
I did, just a couple. Although I can't remember what I liked. I think I just more liked that the horse was forward enough, but I don't remember anything beyond that.
So, I'll talk a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Watching replays. Positives, I like that he's gone left-handed. I like that he's gone almost a mile. 2 things I like, Pete. He hits the ground really hard, and he's got like a big stride. So I think he can go further. I'm not sure how athletic he is. Like, he seems like more of a lumbering type. I'm not sure how well he's going to handle tight turns. Now, we know, every tracks are so different in Europe, right? Everyone's very different. When it says left-handed, it might be a small left hand, and then the stretch could be forever, right? Like, it's very. So I don't know. Obviously, James Stack, I'm not familiar with him, to be honest, knows what he's sending over here. I'm curious to see how this horse handles the turns. The other thing I should mention, and I'm not a weight guy, Pete and Paul, but this horse does get 10 pounds from his previous efforts.
Yeah.
That cannot hurt at all. And St. Mark's Basilica was a Breeders' Cup horse and wanted to go long. So he seems a bit one pace to me, but I do like him. I've got my ABC grid is ridiculous. I'll talk about it in a minute. Paul, any quick thoughts on this particular Euro?
He's in the mix for me. I didn't have him in the top 3, but I think we're all going deeper than 3 in this race.
I mean, I had 5 I had 5 A's, Paul, so I was all over the map in this one.
It's interesting that we'll see. Maybe Kentucky Downs got Frankie back on track, because frankly, he really wasn't riding super this summer. In fact, he wasn't riding well. He rode very well at Kentucky Downs, so that's a wild card, Pete, that may be in your favor. That he might just, he may just that might have snapped him out of it.
That would be lovely. Yeah,
Paul,
although the Kentucky Downs just feels like a Euro track, right? So maybe it just brought him back to the old days a bit. Sorry, Howard.
No. Look, he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best riders in our lifetimes. So I hate to even suggest this. Maybe it just was the hills and valleys that woke him up. I got a feeling like continual $150,000, $200,000 like purses, including main races, woke him up a bit too, guys. Because how do I say this nicely? He's had some issues.
He needs the money. He needs the money.
Look, let's call it like it is. I mean, to not suggest that, I think would be a little bit disingenuous. So anyway, he rode great though at Kentucky Downs. Let's talk about Wild Desert here, Paul. I have very strong opinions on the Godolphin horses coming in this weekend, and I have to say, in general, they're positive, but not all of them. I'd love to hear what you have to say about the number 10 Wild Desert, who I do not have in my top 3, but just like Pete, I'm using a ton of horses in this race. The horse has been in the money 3 for 3, has gone 7 furlongs, has gone left-handed once at Haydock and did it well, and Buick is riding this too darn hot colt.
Yeah, I will say, of course, I'm playing all of them, as you can see by my hat.
Yes, I could tell.
I'm doing. What are the chances I'm going to play a cold pick 3, 10, 5, 2? Anyway, I think that this, for a straight ahead 7 furlong race, this horse got into an amazing amount of trouble. I actually did go back and watch the Euro replay because I'm inspired by my Uncle Howard and I want to be prepared for class.
Nice.
I thought that if you just look at the comment, bothered repeatedly, it's just odd, it's for a straightaway. There's a lot of ways to get in trouble on turns, but for a straight ahead race, and I don't think there was only 7 in there. Anyway, I think if one of them is going to get beat, this is the most likely one. But I do still think he's the best of this field. I thought the 1 had a decent shot here. I thought that race was okay last time. The 1 and 5 are coming out of. Those are the 2 that I picked second. I didn't. I'll hear you talk about it, Howard. I thought that the 12s race was nothing special last time.
Okay, I can't disagree with that. Let me talk about Wild Desert and give everyone opinions, because I did a lot of homework here, guys, which may mean absolutely nothing on Saturday, but at least I'll be prepared. Things I like. This is a talented Godolphin who's obviously 3 for 3 in the money, etc. Things I don't like, Paul. Interestingly enough, in that last race, you know who bothered this horse? The other Godolphin. The other Godolphin is one that came over.
Was it a Godolphin or a Shadwell? Was it a Godolphin?
No, I'm 95% positive it was a Godolphin.
You might be right,
look again.
No,
I think it was the other Godolphin. But anyway, the horse that came over definitely came over on him was Godolphin colors. I'm pretty sure it was Godolphin. Saba Desert, the one that won. But anyway, they were bunched up at the end there, Paul. I didn't feel like Wild Desert was really moving strongly. It just felt like they were all moving about the same. I don't know, man. I'm a little bit against this one. I could be wrong. He's gonna be a low price. I don't love this one. I'm gonna try to beat him in general, but I'm gonna use him. You mentioned Paul and Pete also the Soaring Free, which a lot of these horses are coming out. That Argos is coming out. That 2-out Hero one, the number 5 in this race. I'm sure you guys watch it. We actually covered that race, right? I'm pretty sure we did.
He ran well.
I don't know. The horse that finished at the top 3, they all got great trips. It was fine. They're fine. I don't know. I'm not blown away. I'm going different directions here, guys. Teddy's Rocket. I hate the 12 hole, guys. Absolutely hate the 12 hole. And if Miguel scratches his horse, I wouldn't be shocked. Maybe he didn't blow us away there, Paul. I hear ya. Like, it wasn't like jaw dropping. It was about as professional as it could be. He broke from the far outside, which was the 8 hole that day, sat perfectly, came in between horses. I thought Rosario made a bit of an earlier move than he wanted. And I didn't think the second place horse, Noble Dynasty, who, by the way, is a nice horse and was well meant, that horse was never going by Teddy's Rocket. And on the big G word, the gallop out.
He didn't go by. I watched it, Howard.
Right, Pete? Noble Dynasty never got by on the entire gallop out. There's more there with Teddy's Rocket, Paul. That's how I feel. We'll see on Saturday. I'm getting 12-1. He's going to be more like 6-1. If Teddy's Rocket can somehow, find a spot early, Pete and Paul, I think this horse is very live. I think he's very good. Miguel does not always win first out. I do not have inside intel, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I just like a lot what I saw visually. And if he can somehow not lose ground on the first turn, which is a big if, I think he's very live, Pete. And
I was completely surprised because I handicapped the race pre-morning line. I was surprised at the odds, excuse me,
shocked
on this horse. I thought he was going to be like the third choice at worst. So when I saw the 12, because I had this horse third and I chickened out because of the post, and I switched it out for the 10 because I was like, Appleby, Buick, which one do I want to put in the top 3? But I had the 12 at first, so I'm with you. But I was definitely shocked by the price. So I mean, I think you're getting some good value here too, unless the trip goes to hell from this. I
think it's because of the number, but we talked about this a zillion times, Pete. The time form number fit. Actually, the time form number, if I recall, was the best in the race. So I remember
it is
right.
I think it is. That's what surprised.
So
94.
Anyway,
he got a 94 time form.
Yeah, it was best in the race, I think.
There was a 95, but that was it. Cason or Casone had a 95, the 7, but that was it. So that's why I thought this horse was going to be, because I watched the race too, and I was like, I wanted to watch the race because it was only a half length, and I wanted to see if it was like a fading half length, and I didn't think it was.
No.
I thought he held him off pretty comfortably for
I
the
agree.
most part. Yeah.
I will touch on 2 others really quick. We have to, we can talk about this race for half an hour. Guys, I don't know if you noticed this, but Kevin Attard's got many in here, and Bill of Ice and Marcus J, the 8, who's a speed horse, and the 6, both have Paul Moran listed. I'm assuming one of them's going to scratch. I actually like both of them a little bit. Marcus J, I don't know if you guys watched that replay, but I did. Wow. I mean, I don't know what he faced, but that was very impressive. He went to lead, never looked like a loser at any point. Might be the speed of the speed in a race, guys, that does not have a lot of early speed on paper. So if Marcus J gets in, I'm interested in him.
The
And
works
talk about
the works have been great since that race too.
Very
so
good.
that horse is staying sharp. So you figure he's going for sure.
And talk about time for him. Bill of Ice, 20-1 morning line. Only a 56 buyer, and I'm sure you noticed this, Pete, especially. 56 buyer, but a 79 time form. Time form had this race much better, and similar to Teddy's Rocket, guys, I thought Bill of Ice was very, very professional. Again, I don't like this one as much as the 8, but coming back quick. But if Bill of Ice is in here, I think he can probably fill out underneath. I don't love him to win the race, but guys, the horse is coming out of the sowing free, and the Euros, I'm not huge fans of in this race. That's my overall opinion. Other quick thoughts, Pete and Paul, and we'll roll on to the next race.
I was just going to say the 6, the only reason I liked is the only one, aside from the 12, it's the only one who routed, went 2 turns already, so was comfortable with that. And the breeding suggests that the distance is what he would like. It's just dependent upon whether he's good enough.
Well, same with Teddy, right? He's gone 2 turns. Paul, do you think that's an advantage, or do you think that's overrated here?
It could be an advantage with the setup, as you talked about. It's interesting how when we get to you talked about the course. This is one of the rare places where that outer turf course is outside the dirt.
Yes.
The course they're not using. It's very, very unusual. They can run 1 mile and 1/8 turf race up there going 1 turn.
Yes.
So it's it is interesting. The inner turf that they are using is inside the synthetics. It's just an odd setup. Our good friend Jim Pilar's will be there Saturday, by the way, Howard.
Oh, nice.
At Woodbine?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Oh, look, we haven't seen Roshan in the chat for a while. What's up, Roshan? Buick's in town. Yes, he's in town to ride mainly notable speeds. That's true. But, while he's in town, why not? The other thing I wanted to mention, there was a great stat that Sylvain put on Applebee's, like, unbelievable at Woodbine. Guys, I don't know what's going to happen Saturday, but I do think the inner could be a little bit of fly in the ointment of these Godolphins. It's like I said, they're not used to these tight turns. And we know what kind of kick a lot of these Godolphins have. They can't just wait pee in the stretch and like have that explosive move like we've seen from Master of the Seas and other horses. So I'm not saying they're not going to win. I'm just saying I think it's fair to admit that Saturday's a little bit of a different scenario.
By the way, funny stat for Appleby. In the past 5 years at Woodbine, he won the first 6 races at Woodbine in that 5-year window, and then he's won for 7 since. I don't know what that means much, but he came out. When you look at his running line, it's like just straight wins. He was just dominant here, and now he hits the board, but he hasn't been winning as much here as he used to.
Oh, and by the way, it'll be on our tip sheet, of course, because I'm writing it for Saturday. But as of right now, Pete, I have 1A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 Bs and a C. And my 1A is Teddy's Rocket only because I could do what you do, Pete, and go like 6 deep in A's, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I only tossed 1 horse, so that's the winner. So for anyone who wants to know, the only horse I tossed
who it is, Pete?
was Jupiter, the 11. That was the only horse Jupiter. I tossed, so that's the winner.
Jupiter's the winner. Race 7, Ontario Matron Stakes. This is a grade 3, obviously part of the pick 5, not part of the $5 turf pick 3. It's 150,000, 1 mile and 16th on the all-weather. Older fillies and mares. We've seen some of these horses run before over the years, guys. Another huge field of 12. This is just a great sequence, in my opinion. Moorline favorite is the number 10, Caitlin, Her Greatness. One of Paul's favorite horses, I'm sure. 3-1 Moorline for Kevin Attard and Flavian Interai. Let's see where we're going here. I'm going 3-10-6. Pete's going 10-6-9. Paul's going 6-10-4. Paul, you get to go first. Talk about Literate, 6-1, Marty Drexler and Savachi.
Yeah, I thought this mare had a really good turn of foot down the stretch in that Trillium. I'm going to excuse the E.P. Taylor for 2 reasons. One, I think this horse is clearly better on synthetic, which this race is. And 2, that was a much better field with the likes of She Feels Pretty and Ready for Shirl. So, I think if you take that race out, I just thought that Trillium race, I like the way the horse ran late.
Let's show it,
Caitlin, are
Paul.
great.
1, 4, and 5 are coming out. Your 4 Literate there is in the back. Caitlin, her greatest, making this early move, and the 1 trying to follow there. Literate up the inside, Paul.
Yes, she has got the yes, that is hers. But she comes out. She has to go middle. She doesn't stay on the inside, and I don't think she's going to get there. And I just think the acceleration in the last 100 yards is pretty good.
I think so.
She didn't win by a mile, obviously, but that I think the jock's preference, Howard Savachi's preference, would have been to stay inside, but there was no room, and hats off for that switch to the middle. So, this horse was 60-1 in the EP tail. Obviously, had no shot. I think much more competitive here. And like Pete, I didn't have the morning lines, but 6-1 looks pretty good. I think Caitlin, her greatness is really good and will be an A for me. But I really didn't think she had much of an excuse to get caught by Literate in that Trillium 2 back. Same deal. Forget about the EP Taylor. She's over her head there. But I thought I went Literate out of that race of those two.
Okay, well, how appropriate that the journalist of the group of us goes with Literate. Enough pace to set up for you, Paul. Although I don't think Literate's going to be that far back. The 6 there on the screen. I don't think she'll be that far back. We'll see. Caitlin, her greatness, definitely, by the way, named after Caitlin Clark, will definitely be up close. I like the pick, Paul. She got a great chip last time. That's why I'm a little bit negative to Literate. Or sorry, not 2 back when she won. I mean, she couldn't have gotten a better trip, but you see I have her 3rd. Pete's got her 2nd. She's definitely live for sure. Good luck with Literate, Mr. Halloran. You're going with Caitlin, her greatness, Pete. All this horse does in general is run. She's 8 for 13 lifetime, won over 800,000, can do it on turf, can do it on sin, likes to be forward. No real shame losing to She Feels Pretty last time, probably going maybe a little longer than she wanted to also. Cuts back here for Flavian.
Yeah, I agree with Paul. I kind of like both the horses. Obviously, I have them. I have the 10 and the 6. Paul has the 6 and the 10. So I think we're on the same page there. I think with Pratt, maybe Pratt figures out when to make the move and can sort of make the move early enough to maybe hold off Literate. But I kind of like both of them relatively equally. But I like to switch back to Pratt or to Pratt. Well, back to Pratt. But I didn't like the spot last time. So I like Pratt on her in I think what's a better spot and where she'll get a trip. Again, I think the trip won't be too dissimilar to the Trillium. It's just a point of whether she could kick away a little bit and hold off a horse like Literate and some of the other ones we're going to talk about. But I just think she's a really good horse. She's getting back to what she likes. She's back on the synth. Again, I think she always works out a pretty decent trip. So she's going to be there. Just the point of whether she can hold off some of the other ones that'll be coming late.
I don't know what it is about Avenue Niel, the number 3 guys for Trombette. I've always had a thing for this horse. She's just really honest and tries and is always a bigger price than she should be, in my opinion. What I like about her, guys, is not just because she won last time, but I think she can be tactical. She doesn't be too far back. She hasn't been on the synthetic, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. She seems very well mentored. Like Trombetta is really spotting her because she hasn't run in about 2 months, which I think is fine. She's working really nice over at Fairhill over there. Synthetic. She figures to get a great trip. Rosario's going to be not too far back. She's turning back, which I like that as well. And she's going to be a price in a race, guys, that frankly I think is pretty wide open. So I'm going to go with a little bit of price here. Maybe it's a stab, but Avenue Niel. 10-1 morning line to sit a good trip. She's got numbers that fit here, guys. I think, I don't know. I think she's live. She's sort of a fresh face here that I'm going to take a stab with. I definitely like Caitlin and I like Literate as well. A lot of ways to go in another very tough race, guys, in the Matron. Okay, before we go on to the next race, 2 big announcements. Thanks for joining us, everyone. By the way, HHH Racing Podcast, episode 427. We're talking Woodbine. Number 1, big show this weekend. Weekend Warriors this weekend. Chris Walsh is hosting. I will be on. Matt Miller will be on. Jackson Muniz will be on. Chris Couples will be on live. How about that, guys? It starts
Wow.
at
Whoa.
2:45 Eastern. Again, 2:45 Eastern. Weekend Warriors. We're going to be showing live Woodbine coverage, guys. All the races live. How about that on the screen? Churchill has got a great card that the Ben and Boozin Boys cover. That's also part of our tip sheet. We're going to be playing the audio live of the races, and then a track not too far from you, Pete. Laurel's got 3 stake races, including one with Twirling Beauty. She might be going, she might not for Adelphi. It's a long story. We'll see, but we'll show like 1 or 2 of those races as well. Again, Weekend Warriors, ladies and gentlemen, 2:45 Eastern. We're going to go to about 6 o'clock Eastern. So we're going to be on for over 3 hours. Please join us this Saturday. The other news, which I put on, actually I haven't put it on X. I'll share with everyone in after the next race, guys. So let's go on to race 8. Race 8 is the Natalma, as I bring that on screen. This is the female version 2-year-old, another win-in you're in. Again, all of these grade 1s are win-in you're ins for the Breeders' Cup. $500,000 is the purse. By the way, New Century won last year, not this race, but won the previous race. Why am I skipping on the name now?
Summer.
Summer.
The summer. Right. Who won last year's Natalma? I don't know. That's not a trivia question. I actually don't recall.
I'll see if I can figure it out.
Yeah, go ahead and find that, Pete. Anyway, Natalma, grade 1, $500,000. Again, on the inner turf. This is for the fillies. Another big field of 10. The morning line is a Appleby and Godolphin. Number 5, Dance to the Music. Buick is riding. Let's see where we're going to go in the Natalma. I'm going 10-6-1. Pete's going 10-5-6. Paul's going 5-3-6. Pete, you and I are going to go with deep learning, and it's funny. I call me a homer for the for Chad and Miguel and whatever. I thought if the number 12 in the previous race, Teddy's Rocket, and especially the number 10 Deep Learning, if they had gotten any kind of decent post, especially this horse Deep Learning, they would be very tough to beat. I was extremely impressed with this filly in her first start. Again, just like Teddy's Rocket, in my opinion, if this one is not wide in the first turn, I think it's going to be lights out. I love Deep Learning on Saturday. I think she's really good, Pete.
Yeah, no, I agree. By the way, the winner of last year was End One More Time, beating Vixen and a little horse called Nitrogen, who we might know, who ran third in her second start and then sort of, ran third in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf. And then we know what she's done this year. But yeah, I agree with you. I thought this horse was super impressive, Deep Learning. And it runs, it just sort of runs like what you expect a Chad Brown Klarovich kind of turf horse to do. I like the late kick. I thought it was pretty powerful. And it's just the kind of horse I enjoy watching. And I think is generally looks to be the kind of horse that Chad gets going, and it could be one of his better horses. So I thought there was so much to like. And again, I don't think the post hurts a horse like this, because as long as Pratt can work out a half decent trip and just doesn't get somehow stuck either way wide or too far back, I think there'll be enough late for this horse to make her move. Apologies. Take a drink.
I'm going to freeze it right here. Pete, I thought she was ultra professional in the Klarovich silks until the stretch, actually.
Yeah.
It looked like she had no idea what she was doing. She still blew by the field. Now, she got a great trip. She's on the inside right here. Now the button is finally pushed, and once she tips out right here, like she's right there, she switched leads, right? She's a little bit all over the place. She's a little green, but right about here, and she's still green. Look at this. She's still green. She's blowing by this field and like doing it easily without even like knowing what the hell she's doing. Now, she's going to have to be more professional, Pete and Paul, on Saturday, because again, she's got a wide post. This inner turf can be a little bit tricky, but I think the sky's the limit. Paul, I don't know how you feel. I know you've got her second. Actually, you don't. Sorry. So, Pete, I don't know how you feel. I think if she takes care of business on Saturday, at least runs well, this is a serious Breeders' Cup juvenile filly turf contender, and she better be good, because we know that Todd Pletcher's got an absolute monster in his stable, and assuming that girl's going to be running in the New York stake. Boy, I'm drawing a blank. Paul, what's a New York 2-year-old stake for this preview? Dang
Pilgrim,
it.
maybe?
I thought it was for the boys. Okay, you could be
It
right.
could
I
be.
don't know. Anyway, whatever the girls' version is. Anyway, I think this is a serious horse. I
Yeah,
agree with
no,
you.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I think the trip's the one thing that could get her beat. So hopefully she
Yes.
works out a solid trip
Yeah.
and doesn't sort of get lost on the turns a little bit.
I think he actually wants longer, Pete. I'm actually slightly concerned that the mile's too short. He just looks
Yeah.
like a big, rangy filly that, Union rags on the dam side. Anyway, Paul, Dance the Music. I got a little bit of intel from Emmett Kennedy on Dance the Music because, as you know, Emmett Kennedy does a great job in the Final Furlong podcast. He's been on before out in Ireland. He knows a lot about the Ian O'Briens, but he certainly knows a lot about all the Euros. I like this filly. I don't have her in the top 3. There's a reason why. I'll explain in a minute. But you're going Dance the Music 2-1.
Yeah, and I'm kind of against it. This is an interesting sequence, Howard. I'm against your horses. You're against mine. I would just say,
I like it.
you can't argue with what we just saw out of Deep Learning. I will say, though, I'm not so sure about the field yet. 3 horses have come back. None of them have won, and the average buyer regression was 21 points.
It's fair. Very fair point. Very fair point.
My comments were, after watching the replay, exploded late - weak field ? So we'll see what happens with that. I thought this spot, Dance to the Music, gutted it out in that win. It was not an easy win. And I just like the way she did it. She, as I say, she had a battle the whole time. Now she is stretching out another furlong, but we've talked about that many times. The Euros coming over to North America. It's very rare that an extra furlong is going to be the problem. So, I'm call me a homer. I'm with the Team Blue in this sequence, but I do, I think I have arguments against why I don't like the other horses. Now I'm very possibly wrong about those arguments, but I will be. I don't even see what's the 2-1. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna pay the Godolphin tax anyway.
Yeah.
I'm using them in the sequence, not necessarily in the body of the race.
She can win. She's fine. Little intel, guys. She's a little on the small side, Emmett, and apparently the vibe out there is that she might not go on to longer distances next year, but who cares? That doesn't have anything to do necessarily with Saturday unless people think a mile going 2 turns is stretching it for her. She did miss some time, Paul and Pete. She was supposed to run in the big Ascot race for the 2-year-old fillies and missed that start, and was off for a little bit and came back in what I thought was an okay grade 3, group 3. Again, I feel the same way about this horse. I like this one more, by the way, than the Colt. I will say that the other Godolphin in the Colt race. I like this one a little more, but I don't know. Again, these Godolphins, Peter's going to take a lot of money, and they don't blow me away. These are second string basically horses, which may be good enough to win anyway, but the real good Euros are not necessarily 2-year-olds all the time,
Yeah,
so
yep.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to use her. I'm also going to use Hot Mash, guys. Hot Mash.
Wait, real quick on that, on the 5.
Yep.
The one thing that concerned me a little bit is both races were, now you're going from straightaways sprinting to now 2 turns as opposed to if this was 1 turn. So now you're going 2 turns off a straightaway both times. Just a little something to think about. So it makes it a little tougher, I think.
I have a feeling Deep Learning is going to be the favorite in this race, guys. Just a gut feeling there. Hot Mash, those fractions are correct. I know this horse has to stretch out. For John Service, guys, this horse costs $375. The Not This Times are unbelievable. The horse has turf breeding, obviously. She might be on the lead. I think this is a very, very talented horse. I would not sleep on Hot Mash at all. If she can get the distance, I think she's very live.
Her breeding's a little soft routing was my with hot. Like, so on the dam side, she's 1 for 12 routing and 1 for 12, actually 1 for 12 routing on dirt, 1 for 12 routing on turf. Meanwhile, she's 5 for 6 routing in the top 2 sprinting, and she's 5 for 11 in the money sprinting on dirt. So that's what threw me off a little bit to push her down. But I think she's going to get the right trip. It's just a point of whether she can hold off those monsters who are going to be closing on her late.
I can't argue with that, but the Sibs have gone long just fine. Peace and War went long fine. Frosted Oats was able to go a mile, no problem.
They did.
I mixed feelings there. It was more of a speed play for me, Pete, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm talking more win end too, though. I think like she'll be there, and just the point of whether she can hold on late. I think.
Fun race. It's probably Godolphin versus Chad there, but we'll see. I'm not spreading nearly as much, by the way, in the Colt race or in the Philly race than I am in the Colt race. I would assume Pete and Paul would agree with both those things. The other big point I want to make, or big announcement I run, is we have re-upped. We are partnering once again with the great Race Place, Santa Anita. We'll be doing coverage for Santa Anita. Myself, Pete, Paul, Ryan Anderson will be involved as well. We'll talk about the show time and the time of day and the day later, but we're going to be covering the Santa Anita Fall Meet with some very exciting new bets that they have there, guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, crank it on, especially those of you on the West Coast. We'll be here to cover Santa Anita. Great Race Plays. Great name. Paul Hammond came up with that one, of course. We'll be back starting in a few weeks. All right, guys, let's get to the big one. The big one of the day is the Woodbine Mile, and we've seen some unbelievable. We already talked about Master of the Seas, and will this be another processional for Godolphin with a very, very talented runner who's danced all the dances and faced a lot of really good horses? Let's take a look at this year's Woodbine Mile. Win in, you're in, 5:39 Eastern Standard Time. The usual $1 million, the unusual inner turf this time, not one turn, of course. We already talked about that. Field of 9, Moorline favorite is the number 2. Notable Speech, 4-year-old Appleby, and Buick. Second choice, and I was a bit surprised, to be honest, very strong second choice, is a fascinating South African, One Stripe, for Graham Motion and Johnny V. Let's see where we are going here. Are we all going Godolphin? Yes, we are. I'm going 268. Pete's going 293. Paul's going 263. Pete, Notable Speech, I do not think is a walkover in this race. I'm going to let you and Paul talk first, but he is by far the class of this race. Again, 8-5. I think it'll be more like even money on the day. What say you, Mr. Visco?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's the kind of horse that you look at it and go, let's see if we can try and beat this one. But I couldn't really get to anyone else that I liked enough to beat this horse. I mean, he's just so classy. And I guess that's the thing, is every field that he's faced for the most part just seems to be much better than the one he got here. I don't think this is like a vintage Woodbine Mile by any stretch. So I feel like just from a class standpoint, he sort of lays over the field a bit. And I mean, I think he'll, again, like anything, the trip could be difficult now. And but if the trip is fine, and it is Buick and Appleby and Godolphin, so I mean, I think from a connection standpoint, they're coming over here with a purpose. I just think this horse just classes way over this field, and that's what made me say I can't find a way to really go against him.
He's won 1.7 million. They were pointing to this spot all along after the Prix Jacques Lemoyne, the grade 1 there at Deauville. That was always the plan, by the way. Just to let people know at home. That last run, I don't know if you guys watched the replay. I remember watching it live, actually, because it was on a Saturday morning when Davy's tip sheet was out. That last about 150 yards was absolutely mind-boggling. He got in a lot of trouble. This horse is always held up, Paul. Like, they always sort of have him covered up in behind horses, and he usually explodes late. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. He had a lot of trouble in that last race in France, which, by the way, he's been on straightaways the last 4 starts. Just want to mention that. Although he did handle Del Mar very well, and I'm sure he's going to handle Del Mar well again. He exploded late and should have gone by Diego Velasquez, just couldn't get there, but he was the best on that day. Paul, what kind of odds are we getting on Notable Speech? Is this a slam dunk for you?
I think we're what is the morning line? 8 to 5,
sir.
Yeah, I'd say right. That's about right. And yeah, I think this is as likely a winner as we have on the card. Although
Wow.
he's lost 6 straight. Now, you could take that. You could look at the races and say, well, the Breeders' Cup Mile, he was just missed by 3/4 of a length, and then, this horse runs grade ones like I eat popcorn and Matt Miller eats popcorn regularly. So that could be a little deceiving, but yeah, the 2-turn deal, Howard, it could be an issue. You're showing the Breeders' Cup when he just didn't. That's didn't quite get there.
This is
Unfortunately.
Johannes in the pink, and then More Than Looks coming over the top.
Boy, somebody must have been smart picking that horse on top. I wonder who that
Absolutely.
was. Yeah, it was pretty. It's a pretty good idea picking More Than Looks.
It's funny, you haven't mentioned the phrase Euro trash. Are you a little afraid of the Euros on Saturday? You haven't mentioned that phrase yet.
At Woodbine, I told you, at Woodbine, the Euro trash shows up. So I don't.
Right.
I just because I call them Euro trash doesn't mean I'm dumb enough not to bet them. So I'm not. I know I'm stupid most of the time, but
okay,
I don't have to root for them to bet them. That's the way I look at it.
I think this motion horse is interesting, Howard. First time motion, but interesting spot. Graham has had the horse for a while. Obviously, he's been training at Fair Hill. We saw again last week going out to the West Coast. Graham ships very intentionally and very judiciously and very successfully. That's a lot of double LY words in the end.
So January 4th race, by the way, Paul, the January 4th race that the Group 1, that was a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Mile. This horse is going to the Breeders' Cup Mile, and that's why he's here. I don't have a drink. That's why he's here, by the way, because he's already in the Breeders' Cup Mile, Paul. So, they're not here just for S's and giggles.
Yeah. No, I think though, and Johnny B. So yeah, I think if the 2 gets beat, that although I picked that horse third because I also do. I think Cassie Sauce is very consistent, but I just think that the 3 is very interesting for motion, first time North America, etc.
Yep. Jackson Muniz, who will be on live Saturday, my motion buddy that works the 3. So, wow, dropping workhorses. Said 5-2 is ridiculous. Jackson, could you expound on that? Are you saying Jackson should be a lot higher or
lower? Right. That's.
I'm assuming he means the horse should be a lot higher than that. But Jackson, if you could just tell us what you mean by that a little bit. Tom Espinosa, I'm getting Izzy Vungu Vungu vibes from the entry of the 3. Yeah, I hear you. Let me. That's what I thought from Jackson. It should be higher. I agree. 5-2 seems completely ridiculous to me. Let me tell you some intel and my opinions on notable speech, guys. Give me 45 seconds. I want to talk about the pace scenario of this race. This horse has not won, Paul, since last year, since July 31st at Goodwood. Sure, he's faced some very good horses, but you know what? He's also disappointed, guys. No half measures. 2 back was like 50-1. Docklands was like 35-1 in the Queen Anne. I know he's not usually like even money or anything, but I gotta tell you guys, he's been disappointing to some extent this year. He's goofy at times. His last race by far was his best race this year. He should be a slam dunk to me, but I'm not as strong on him on this Godolphin this year, guys, as I usually am. This is not a Master of the Seas type for me. I could be wrong. Apley also said he's better when there's a fast pace in front of him. I got to tell you guys, I don't think this is going to be a fast pace. I think Buick's going to have him in a good spot, and he's probably going to win. And he might win by 2 or 3, but he's not a single for me, guys. Here's what I see. I see a slow pace because I don't think the one's going to gun from the inside. The other 2 speeds in this race, generally speaking, are both Cassie. The number 6, My Boy Prince, and the number 8, Win for the Money. Other than that, guys, there's not a lot of speed in this race at all. And frankly, this is not the best Woodbine Mile field we've seen. I think we can agree with that. Pete and Paul, I have a weird feeling My Boy Prince is going to run a massive race. I thought he ran well against the Deterministic, and intellect. When I rewatched the 4-star Dave, Deterministic and Kendrick, guys, he came in My Boy Prince like pretty earlier than I thought. He made a move on the turn and made My Boy Prince really work hard going into the turn. And I thought My Boy Prince really hung around pretty well. I'm not worried about distance because last year he was in the King's Plate. I'm reading through the tea leaves. My Boy Prince is going to have the lead, and I believe that the number 8, Win for the Money, who's a 6-year-old, is going to sit. Guys, if My Boy Prince puts them to sleep and Noodle's speech is a little goofy and gets in a little bit of a trouble, I think My Boy Prince has a big shot in this race. Paul, you have him second, so I don't know how big a shot you think he has. I'm only going 2-6 in this race. I'm not going to use anyone else. If anyone else wins, I'll be shocked. I would not be shocked if My Boy Prince upsets this field, Paul. I really won't.
No, and I think the reason why I wouldn't be shocked, Howard, and you touched on it, is the pace scenario, right? This horse is probably maxed out, or he's won 1 mile and an eighth on synthetic, but it looks like on turf this is about the right distance. Ran well in the Jaipur. On Belmont weekend, AG Bullet is lights out. That's 5.5 furlongs, so there's a difference. But I agree. I have no problem with the way this horse ran last time. Deterministic, that was his second Grade 1 win in whatever, to 8 weeks, 10 weeks, or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I think Notable Prince is going to catch him, but. Yeah, if you're looking for a horse I certainly think this horse is going to be on the lead.
I agree. And the other loss was the AG's Bullet recently. He's lost to Deterministic, AG Bullet, and Patch Houlihan. Those are 3 really nice horses. I mean, he's only 4. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to sell myself, Pete, with something that's not there. You don't have him in the mix. I just think of a pace scenario, they're not going to battle. This horse should be on the lead unless the one decides to gun. I could see like a 24-2 and like 48, and you know what I mean? I don't see a lot of contesting up front. Now you've got the 9, the last horse. We've got to move on here. You got Gas Me Up, who's in really good form. Pete, I would really like this horse if there was speed in the race. I just don't know if it's going to set up for him, but he's in raging form right now for Flavian.
No, yeah, and that's the concern, is I just don't think he works out. I always trust in Pratt, obviously, but even Pratt, even last time, had a ton of pace to run into, and this horse was pretty far back and had to close against a little bit worse field, obviously, than this. I agree with you guys. I like the 9 just as a horse, but I like My Boy Prince. It was my next horse up. The 0 for 5 going the mile on the turf, like Paul said, that scared me a bit. I think he hits the board, so I didn't put him in my top 3 because I didn't like him as a win contender. But I think he's the kind of horse that gets on the lead and probably hits the board. I just am worried that he holds. I think a horse like Notable Speech gets to him, and then you just see what happens if he fades or if he hangs on. And you getting what, 10-1? If you can get that 10-1 price, and even if you just play it cold, Notable Speech over the top, that's pretty good in this field.
I just feel like Noble Speech, guys, he was really good at 2, right? He was like 5 for his first 6. I'm not saying he hasn't gone on with it, but when you see these Godolphins like as monster 2-year-olds, Paul, you expect them to win Breeders' Cups and win Group 1s, and he just really hasn't done it. They also had him going 6 furlongs, and then he went a mile. It feels like Charlie doesn't know what to do necessarily with Notable Speech, Paul. I don't know. And again, I might sound I've got him on top, so I'm picking him, but I don't think he's a complete monster. I think we've seen better Godolphins coming over here. Anyway, let's go in the last race, guys, and then I have a rant that is not horse racing related that I've been thinking about, frankly, all day. Last race of this seat, by the way, so that ends the $5 pick 5. And Paul and Pete, I would assume a lot of people are going to be singling Notable Speech on the end of that $5 ticket. So if you can beat Notable Speech and you play that bet, you are going to get paid for sure. Just something or you could press up with them, right? There's different ways you can play that race. The last race, guys, of the pick 5 is the Brandon Cities Vigil, Grade 3, 7 furlongs, 150K. Small field here of 8. Ends, like I said, the pick 5. Moorline favors number 2, Simcoe, facing the second choice, Cruden Bay. Simcoe is for Rafael Hernandez and Valsilvia. Let's see where we're going to end it. I'm going 6-4-2. Pete's going 2-4-5. Oh, Paul, you and I, we can't we have to go with this horse. Paul's going 6-2-8. Pete, Simcoe and Victory Achieved faced each other last time. We were live on Weekend Warriors, and I got to admit, I was about as pissed as I've ever been, at least on a live show, because I don't know what the F that Husbands was doing on Victory Achieved from the inside. I thought this was a dead send and could wire the field. I made a big play on him. I was obviously wrong because Simcoe did what I thought Victory Achieved was going to do. I'm hoping that your horse gets caught. It's just not quite as classy this time, but boy, he was very good last time. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I guess that's the question, right? I mean, if you look at the time form, it gives Simcoe sort of a clear lead, but I think if the 6 Victory Achieved does what you want it to do, that wouldn't necessarily be the case this time. But I think if for some reason Victory Achieved just doesn't come back and is as sharp this year, even though that was a very nice, I mean, it was a nice race. It was fine. It wasn't great. I think though, Simcoe just seems to be in really raging form right now. Came back at 5 and just seems to be still getting better. So if this horse gets better and is just at sort of the top of his game, I think he just sort of I think he beats his field. I think I would take 2-1 as a gift. In all honesty,
okay.
If I'm saying like if he can sustain that level from last time, I think that's better than everybody else in the field.
So Simcoe is the 6 here. Victory Achieved is the 1. Now, Victory Achieved was coming off a layoff in this race, and I thought it was a dead send, and I thought he was going to be really good. And Simcoe beat him to the punch, and then Victory Achieved on the 1 here. I mean, he broke well, and I just don't understand. Right here, it's like he's sending, but not really hard, and like right here, I don't understand why he decided to take back and let now and he studied back there and. Just Simcoe got to the lead and was very good. And now look at Victory Achieved now, the 1. Look at this. I mean, completely ridiculous. Checking, studying. He's got no chance from here. He did make a middle move. Your horse, Pete, though, got the lead and just was really strong in the lane. No one really came running at all. Victory Achieved made a little bit of move up the inside. Are you concerned at all about the 7, Pete, with Simcoe?
Yeah, you would think. I mean, the 7 has speed. The 7 doesn't always.
No, 7 furlongs.
The 7 furlongs. I'm sorry, my fault. I was looking at the 7. I was like,
the 7 horse. But
no, I thought
that
I was saying
Victory Achieved again. Look at this again, steady. I was complete effing disaster. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't worry about it too much because I mean, at least he's been going the 6.5, and I think if he gets that same kind of trip, I don't think the extra half furlong hurts him. But I think like you're saying, if somebody else goes with him and presses him a little bit, then the extra half becomes a little bit more concerning. But the hope is that this horse just gets to the lead. But again, I don't think that's a given. So, but I think on class and talent, this one is in better form, and you want to see it from like a horse like Victory Achieved. You want to see if he can get back up to that level he showed a little bit last year.
I get it. Paul, I don't think our horse has to have the lead necessarily. But again, I think he's really talented. We just watched that last race. An absolute complete disaster. He's a younger horse who's got a lot more upside than Simcoe. Maybe he gets in a speed duel and we lose, but I like Victory Achieved a lot. I don't think Husband's going to mess around this time.
Yeah, I had Simcoe last time, Howard. Sorry, and I think that was the time. He was, right. He was impressive, though. I mean, it wasn't like he hung on for dear life, but yeah, I mean, that was a ridiculous trip. Now, the good news is, Husbands rides this horse regularly and won 3 in a row. And, I don't know. I think the horse is better on synthetic than turf. I wanted Victory Achieved this time.
So I agree. I think he's going, and if they set it up, I'll use Cruden Bay. Again, I'm only going too deep here, guys. Generally speaking, I'm going 4-6. If Simcoe wins again, Pete, and he might. If he wins again, I'll just be wrong. I don't necessarily think 7 furlongs is jam. I think the 6 is going. They might just set up for Cruden Bay, who is actually a really honest horse, and I'm not worried about the synthetic. So I'm mainly going 4-6. Any other quick thoughts, guys, as we need to speed ahead here? I know you've got others. Is there anyone else? Each one of you can mention one horse if you'd like.
I thought the 5 was sneaky as sort of a hit the board at a double digit price kind of play.
Wicked
If
Django.
depending upon what happens up front, I think this horse
Okay.
this is one that looks better if you take away sort of the turf races, which actually they weren't bad, but I think this is a little bit better. He's obviously better on the synth. So I think getting him back on the synth after the claim, or after not the claim, after the trainer switch. But again, coming off a bit of a layoff, so I think the win end might be tough, but could be someone who hits the board at a decent price.
Paul, you're a gambler, right?
Yeah, that's a horse I was going to mention. Actually, how did you know? Not
Well,
even
you had
as
a
a
third.
hunch.
I used a lot of real intellect there.
Yeah, I mean, this again. Maybe it's his turn, right? He's run with all these horses, and he's always around, and Pratt. The second time Pratt is a pretty good angle, as it is with a lot of these top jockeys. So yeah, I thought if someone were going to upset it, the 8 would be my choice. It'll probably be a C on my grid.
A lot of fun, guys. This is a really good sequence. Let's get
Oh,
to
and
the best
before you
bets.
do your rant, could I mention one thing?
Of course.
We should, because we had such a great show last week. I thought we should give an update on the fundraising. Is that proper to do?
Yeah. Well, let's do the best bets first, Pete, or Paul. And
Oh,
then
I
you can
forgot
talk.
about the best bets. I forgot
I
about
know
the
that's because I've been forgetting about the best bets recently. But let's do best bets. You can mention the fundraiser, Paul, and then I'll rant. How's that sound?
You got it.
All right, Pete. $5 turf pick 3 from you, starting in race 6 against race 6, 8, and 9s, the grade 1s, ladies and gentlemen. Pete's going 4, 6, 10, 12 with 5, 10 with 2, 3, 9. Whoa! Pete's spending some of that pick 5 money he's won over the last few months.
Yeah.
$120 there. And then in the 9th race, which is the Woodbine Mile, you're going to play double 2, 9 with the 2. That's with Simcoe in the last.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. I mean, that one sort of speaks for itself. In the pick 3, yeah, I just went for a pricey ticket for fun because it's a $5. But you obviously have to beat at least one of the favorites in one of those races. You have to beat, and that's why against Notable Speech, right? That's the 9th. Yep. That's the 3rd leg. Yeah, you have to, if you could beat Notable Speech there, maybe you catch a decent price.
Okay. Paul's going to race 6, the opening leg of this pick 5. Also playing a $5 pick 3. 1, 5, 10 with 3, 5 with 2. Very affordable. 6 times 5 is a $30 bet, Paul.
And I heard you don't have to play it just for 5. That's
correct.
I contacted the Canadian government and they.
Oh.
Yeah, and I just can't resist a 10-5-2 just in case.
Of course.
Right?
Of course. That the Elk Dolphin.
You got to play that at least twice, Paul. You got to play that one in here and then play that one on the side. That's
do not fear, Peter. Do not fear.
You're gonna be pissed though if it winds up you get to Notable Speech and that's the one that costs you. That would suck.
Jim Pillars is a regular Woodbine player I really dislike when husband's is on a horse I like. His rides are too often head scratchers. Okay.
Shots fired from Jim.
P. Husband's, shots fired from Jim Pillars. Interesting. Let me put up where we go. I am going also, gentlemen, with the turf pick 3. This first leg is like, I have no idea. I'm going 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 with 6, 10. That is the speed horse and the Chad horse. I'm tossing Dance the Music in that leg. And then in this bet, I would single Notable Speech. But in the pick 5, I'm absolutely using My Boy Prince for sure. I just didn't want to do a $120 bet for the show purposes. But my own bet, I might do that. I don't know if I'm going to weigh them equally. I got to figure that out. But I would single Notable Speech on the end of that bet right there. Gentlemen, a lot of fun. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We got a big announcement right now about the Cody's Wish Monument. And then I have a quick, but I think very important and heartfelt rant that I want to say for about a minute. Paul, give us an update on our fundraiser and the Cody's Wish Monument.com is the website you can go to. Let me see if I can grab the banner and you can give everyone an update. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think we had a great show last week with Jocelyn Russell and Robin Hutton and the Dormans. And, we we started this thing figuring whatever we could do, and then we had that little carrot of a $5,000 figure out there to get the HHH Racing Podcast family on the permanent plaque. There'll be a temporary plaque on October 11th, and then a permanent plaque after that. And I know, Howard, you communicated with Robin today, and she texted me last night. The HHH Racing Podcast family, folks, is up to almost $7,000. So just a tremendous effort by all involved. Obviously, there were a couple of big donations out there, but I have the sheet upstairs, Howard. I know we had, we're probably up around 20 people who've given something one way or another. So thanks very much. It's just a tremendous job by our podcast family.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't wait to be there for the ceremony. You're going to be there, Paul, along with Kyle and Noah, and it's going to be special. So thank you, everyone who donated to the Cody's Wish Monument. You can still do it, of course, and it's tax deductible. About actually almost 1 month from today is the, or it is 1 month from today?
It is 1 month from today. Now that you mention it.
There you go. Also, quick shout out to Ryan Mistretta, great friend of Patrick Kunzel and now friend of mine, who gave me the saddle cloth, guys. That's actually I folded it several times, so that is a saddle cloth right there. It's actually quite big. It's awesome. I love it. So that little HHH Racing Podcast with the logo that you created there, Peter, that we grabbed from somewhere else on the saddle cloth right there. So really cool. All right. Guys, not only is it 9/11, but we've had a rough last, 48 hours, 24 hours, especially in this country. And I need to say something, and I also need to say it because I'm a teacher as well. I've said this a few times on this show. And if people don't want to hear from me about something that's not horse racing, and you think I should shut up and dribble and stay in my own lane, well, you can just go ahead and leave the show right now, because most of us who are watching this show and listening are Americans. We're also all human beings. Some of us have our own children. In my case, I've been teaching for 30 years and I've been working with kids of all ages. And I have some very strong things that I want to say. And I'm going to put myself on full screen. And Pete and Paul, when I'm done, obviously completely up to you as to whether you want to say anything or not. I do not want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put myself full screen. There were two incidents yesterday. One, of course, involving Charlie Kirk, who was killed. And on the same day, which unfortunately is barely going noticed these days, there's another school shooting in Colorado. We have major problems in this country. We are sick. We have an illness. And for me, it's a two-headed monster. And I don't care if you are a, huge MAGA Republican who is very much on the right and loves our president, or if you're a liberal Democrat and you hate a lot of things that are going on with our president and other things in this country. I will say, and I've never said it on this show, and we don't talk about politics at all, I'm very much in the middle, and I lean left, but I'm more a centrist. And there's two issues that we have in this country that I think everyone should agree upon. And they are, number one, in no particular order, number one, mental illness, and number two, gun violence. If you don't agree that those two things are not a problem in this country, I think you've got a problem, to be very honest with you. I grew up in a family where my parents, God rest both my parents' souls, they've both been gone since 2017. My mother was a guidance counselor and my father was a psychiatrist. So I think I know a little bit about mental health. The joke is also that's why I'm nuts. But anyway, that's a joke that I love sharing with people because it is quite ironic that I have parents that had parents that grew up and spent their entire professional career in mental health. I've been a high school for 29 years, a high school teacher, and I work with kids every day. So let me say a few quick things. We cannot solve the issues in this country, in my opinion, without taking care of both of those issues, mental health and gun violence. And there's a lot of ways to solve both of them. I'm not going to talk about it. We're not going to debate for 20 minutes right now, but there is a mental health crisis in this country. And I would implore everyone to please vote for candidates on either side of the aisle that support funds for mental illness. It's a major problem in this country and needs to be dealt with on a much more serious level. Number one. Number two, there's a major gun violence problem in this country. And everyone needs to acknowledge that as well. And I have friends and I have family that own guns, and you can believe in the Second Amendment and all that. But anyone that does not believe in the most basic, fundamental, common sense laws, like, for example, bump stocks, banning those, if you don't know what those are, look into them, and common sense background checks, then I don't know what we're doing. I am not anti-gun, I'm not anti-Second Amendment, but I do believe in two things. We need to improve our mental health, and we need to stop or limit the gun violence. And if you don't believe in that at home, that's fine. You can say that I'm full of crap. You can call me anything you want. Like I said, I'm more of a centrist. I lean a little bit more left, but I want to see our children and our kids survive. And I want to see our adults survive. And gentlemen, as I bring you back on screen, as I bring you back on screen, I don't think we can be sustainable in this country without taking care of those two things. And the last thing I want to say is this. I don't have children of my own. Pete, you've got, with Jackson's 13 now, is that right?
Yep.
Jackson's 13. Paul, you've got adult children. We as adults need to lead the way, and we are not doing our kids any favors at all. We are destroying our own kids. And I thought about a lot this today, Pete and Paul, as I saw one of my students in the hallway upset. It was not about what I'm talking about, just she was upset about something else. And we've heard this a lot, guys, like, oh, this generation is soft, right? Sometimes we say it jokingly, and sometimes we say it seriously about how Gen Z and maybe, Jackson's age kids, school age kids, they're soft. They don't know how to handle stress, right, Pete? I'm sure you've heard that as a parent of a son who's in middle school right now. You know what? We never had active freaking shooting drills, guys. We didn't have to worry about going to school, worried about getting shot at. When I was a teacher, when I was younger, I didn't even cross my mind. My biggest worry as a kid was making sure I did well on a test so my parents wouldn't kill me. That was my concern. Now they've got social media bullying. I'm sorry. If you want to rip on our younger generation, we've put them in a shitty situation, guys, in my opinion. And we need to freaking fix it. And we need to fix it fast, because I don't like the way this direction this country is going at all. I'm not blaming any side. I'm blaming everyone. But gentlemen, we've got to fix it. And I am angry. I don't want to send out, thoughts and prayers. I don't believe in that. I don't want to be, I don't mean disrespectful to anyone who believes strongly in religion. This is not a religious thing. We have laws that we need to change, and we have mindsets that we have to fix, guys, because this country's in the shitter right now. And so I just want to express my opinions, because you know what? I don't want kids dying in school. I don't want to die in school as a teacher, and I'm sick of adults and everyone, being victims of gun violence and mental health issues. So there you go. I'm done. I had to get off my chest. People can agree or disagree. Pete and Paul, as I go to the chat, I'll let either one of you comment, or you could certainly take a pass. I completely understand. Go ahead, either one of you, or we can take a pass.
You got anything?
The only thing, Howard, I think you're right on target. It was very well said, and it is ironic that yesterday, we didn't hear a lot of a school shooting. We don't hear a lot about, and look at, but I got to tell you, the one thing that I just cannot get over on yesterday, and this is more relative to the Charlie Kirk thing. You see the video, and it's horrific.
Awful.
I cannot get over one person, let alone thousands, posting like celebratory. And I think it could not be any freaking less relevant, the guy's politics. He's 31 years old with a wife, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. Okay. I don't give a shit what he thinks about transgender people in that moment. And I guess I shouldn't be, but it's horrifying. I think it's one of the lowest points in my lifetime. And as you guys know, I'm pretty effing old. The act itself is so heinous, but to think we've gotten to a point where people would celebrate a guy getting killed on live TV. That's it. That's all I want to say.
You know what, Paul, what people are seeing, and I don't care if we're talking about a little bit. We got a great audience here. Like, I remember when I saw the Zapruder film, Pete, and I don't know what year I was, how old I was when I saw that. I was like, oh my God. But you know what? That was a very distant shot. You could barely, unless you saw the close up or, whatever. What people are, what kids are exposed to these days, like you can find that what happened to Charlie Kirk, like
Oh,
as it happened.
Oh, easy.
It's
horrible.
Yeah.
it's absolutely awful. And Pete, before you make a comment, I have to respond from James. James, we love you. I'm glad you watched the show. You're entitled to your opinion. It's both, James. You and I can disagree. I love to debate with you. If people are going to deny that guns has anything to do with any of this, I'm sorry. I have to push back. And again, I'm not against the Second Amendment, Pete. I have family members that own guns. People have the right to own guns and be responsible. I'm totally for that. I just think no matter what side of the aisle you're on, Pete, or maybe you're independent, not you, but people, you got to see the whole picture. You have to see the forest through the trees. Otherwise, what are we doing? You got to be honest with yourself. But Pete, go ahead. I'll let you speak to say anything you like or nothing.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say, because I think you guys pretty much, I'm pretty much in agreement with everything you both said. The one thing I'll say is the problem is, I think, and I'm not a political person because of the sort of the climate that we're in, is
Yeah.
when people say we these days, they don't mean we as a country and as human beings and as a people or as Americans or whatever cheesy phrase you want to use. They generally say we in terms of that pocket of people that they're aligned with. And I think that's the problem. That's why nothing gets solved, because nobody thinks of solving problems, or the people who are in position to solve the problems don't think of solving the problems on a grand scale for everyone. They want to
Exactly.
only solve them that fits their side or their bucket or their
narrative.
silo,
Yeah.
their narrative. And I think until that changes, and it only seems to get worse, all we do in this country in one way or another is sort of label ourselves and sort of divide us even more by even little things. And you go, when you hit that point, again, nobody's trying to solve issues. Like, people don't solve school shootings because one says, oh, I don't want to do anything against guns, or I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. It's like, who gives a shit? Just solve, tackle a problem that's affecting all people.
How about compromising? Let's just be safe and
There's no
compromise. Like
such thing as compromise
common
anymore.
sense
Yeah.
shit, Pete. Common sense. Like,
There's no compromise anymore. That's the problem.
well,
And I think until that divide is fixed, I don't think we'll ever get better, because no one really thinks in terms of let's fix the problems that the country has or the problems that children are facing. They just don't care enough, I think, and they just want to solve the problems that appeal to their base and their voters or their pocket of people or their little subset or silo. And it's disgusting to me, and I hate it, and that's why I sort of stay out of all of it
I hear
because
you.
of that.
I almost never say anything, but I'll tell you what, to not talk about it for me is irresponsible. I know this is a horse racing podcast, but we're all humans. And I mean, we're all affected by it. And, if you're going to be equally outraged by what happened to Charlie Kirk, and I am, and any reasonable person, I don't care. Like I said, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. That was disgusting and horrible and awful. And like Paul said, this was a father with two freaking young kids that are never going to know their father. It's absolutely horrendous. If you're going to be equally outraged, you have to be equally outraged what happened to the Democratic Minnesota couple who was murdered in their home at night. It can't be one or the other. Either you're all in or you're all out.
It can't be, but it is, and that's the problem. Is that that's what
but
they
it didn't
do.
used to be that way. This is way.
No, it didn't used to be.
And it didn't matter. It didn't matter who was running the country. With the Bushes, it wasn't this way. It wasn't this way with Obama. It's something's changed in the last 8 to 10 years. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. And we need to be better. And I say we, meaning adults. We need to figure it out, and especially the damn politicians need to figure it out. So anyway, I'm done. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening and stays safe. And I just, it's a shame, but thank God, guys, thank God that we have horse racing and some outlets that we can take our frustrations out and hopefully win a nice turf pick 3 or a pick 5 on Saturday at Woodbine. Pete and Paul, really do appreciate allowing me to rant, get that off my chest. And you guys did a great job. We wish everyone great success at Woodbine. Weekend Warriors Saturday, 2:45 is when it starts. A whole bunch of people are on. Please check it out. because there's great racing. For Pete Visco and Paul Halloran, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, and a very interesting and exciting episode 427. Crush your bets in the Great White North at Woodbine this Saturday. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.